one of the few fungi that have a reasonably good common English name. There's about 40,800 species of fungi in the UK, and a project was set up a couple of years ago to give them English names. They got to about 1,000 and gave up.
Bored.
Yeah, but yeah, sort of how many variations can you get on that sort of tawny, light brownish, boring toadstool thing? Light tawny, mid tawny and dark tawny is about as far as you can get. This one is called the smoky bracket. It's a bracket, slightly triangular shaped, but thins out towards the edge, and it produces grey spores. So it's called the smoky bracket. So
Nice name.
So that's the bottom.
that's the underneath.
Bracket,
Yeah. So if you turn them upside down, the turkey tail family of fungi, which look similar, are white. The steriums, the hairy sterium family, are pinkish orange, but this one is grey. So
Bracket.
sniff, poke, rip it to pieces, but at least look at something before you try and identify it, because there are dozens, probably hundreds of fungi that look like that in the picture books. But read the text in the picture book, and it'll help you identify them or separate them into different groups.
The bits that you need to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
To find out. If I could just explain to people why this bit has been cut, why there's lots of piles of dead wood around. This is one of our main dormice woodlands, and we manage it for the common Hazel Dormice, which is not the fat, edible Roman endangering dormouse. It's a little hazel brown with a furry tail, and the one that you see pictures of that's very cutely asleep at the moment. And it's one of the best monitored dormouse populations in the country. In fact, it's been monitored for about 35 years, I think. So there are a few dormice boxes around, but some dormice will use dormice boxes and other dormice won't. But dormice rely on a patchwork of coppiced woodland. So it's no good coppicing all this wood all in one go and then going, right, in 5 years' time it'll all be perfect dormouse habitat. It doesn't work like that. They need some bits just coppiced, other bits
So
mature
sequentially,
coppiced.
Yeah.
But what we can't do is in order to keep the dormice moving around, is we can't coppice, plot A there 1 year and then the next door plot the next year and then the next door plot the next year. It doesn't work like that. You have to have this bit coppiced here and then that bit coppiced over there to make sure you've got continuous hazel habitat in between. So if you'll also notice that there's nice arch over the path isn't open to the sky, and that's because in the summer when the dormice are active they're all up in the canopy. And they don't particularly like coming down to the ground, so we have to make sure that there's plenty of roots across the path for them, so they have continuous habitat.
Pretty much of different kinds, actually.
Of dormice?
Yeah.
There's 3 species, I think,
Oh, okay.
around.
Yeah.
There's the one here is the native dormouse. The Glys-glys, which is the fat edible dormouse, which is kind of greyish.
This is like the one Romans brought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is established a little population of those around the kind of Buckinghamshire, Herefordshire, Hertfordshire border, which are causing a certain amount of problems because they like people's houses, and particularly their wiring.
So, loft insulation.
Yes, and loft insulation, and all kinds of things. So they're causing quite a few problems.
Shoot 'em.
Well, they are edible, but the ones around
Wait till
here
1 o'clock.
are the little. They're about kind of that size, and they're a beautiful kind of hazelnut brown colour with a little furry tail, and they'll be tucked down at this time of year. They'll be tucked down at the base of trees in a little nest. They actually hibernate on the ground. The nest boxes that we have are breeding ones, so they'll be used later in the year.
Is that the ones they say to put a tennis ball up with a hole in for? Or the harvest mice?
Harvest mice, that is really. No, dormice are very specific to coppiced woodland.
Right, okay.
So they're not hugely uncommon, but they're not terribly common either.
So is it a nest under the ground?
Yes, at the base of trees generally.
And under the like dug down?
Yeah, yeah, kind of tucked in somewhere warm and snug and dry. They like stripping. They like old stems of honeysuckle because it's got that kind of stringy, flaky bark, and they nick that for their nests.
Oh, no.
So can foxes and badgers prey on them?
Oh yes, yeah,
Like you say,
definitely.
yeah.
If they can find them.
Mm.
But of course, when they're actually in true hibernation, their chemistry.
Shut right down, yeah.
Yeah, their chemistry is all kind of totally
Yeah.
shut down, so they're not really giving off much smell
Yeah.
as well. So, right, shall we wander on?
On the path.